On the morning of August 8, 2023, the people of Lahaina, Maui, woke up to what seemed like just another beautiful day in paradise. The sun was shining, tourists were exploring the historic Front Street, and the gentle rhythm of island life continued, as it had for generations. But beneath this idyllic surface, a disaster was quietly brewing, a perfect storm of environmental conditions that would soon unleash an unimaginable catastrophe. For days, Maui had been under a red flag warning. Hurricane Dora, a powerful category 4 storm, was passing hundreds of miles south of the Hawaiian Islands. While it posed no direct threat of landfall, its presence was profoundly felt. The massive pressure difference between the hurricane and a high-pressure system to the north created exceptionally strong, dry winds that raked across the islands. These weren't the gentle trade winds Maui is famous for. These were fierce, gusty, downslope winds, capable of turning a small spark into a raging inferno. Adding to the danger was the severe drought that had gripped Maui for months. The once lush landscapes surrounding Lahaina had turned brittle and dry. Invasive grasses, particularly fountain grass and guinea grass, had taken over former sugarcane and pineapple plantations. These non-native species are highly flammable and grow back quickly after fires, creating a dangerous, repeating cycle of fire risk. They had turned the hillsides above the town into a tinderbox, waiting for a single spark. That morning, a small brush fire was reported near Lahaina Luna Road. Firefighters responded quickly and, by 9 a.m., declared it 100% contained. It seemed like a routine event, a minor threat averted. But the winds, gusting over 60 miles per hour, were relentless. A flare-up occurred, and this time, the fire exploded. Pushed by the hurricane-force winds, the flames began a terrifying descent toward the heart of Lahaina. The speed of the fire was breathtaking. It wasn't a slow-moving blaze that could be outrun. It was a firestorm, a wall of flames that jumped from building to building, consuming everything in its path. Eyewitnesses described a scene of pure chaos. The sky turned a dark, apocalyptic orange. Thick black smoke blotted out the sun, and embers the size of fists rained down on the town. Power lines, toppled by the fierce winds, fell onto the dry grass, igniting new fires and complicating escape routes. The town's emergency siren system, a tool designed for tsunamis, remained silent. Officials later explained they feared activating it would cause people to run uphill, directly into the path of the fire. Instead, alerts were sent to mobile phones. But with widespread power and cell service outages, many residents never received the warnings. For countless people, the first sign of danger was the sight of flames on their doorstep or the desperate shouts of their neighbors. Panic set in. Front Street, Lahaina's historic main artery, became a scene of horror. Cars were trapped in a gridlock of terror, their engines stalling, their tires melting. People were forced to abandon their vehicles and run for their lives. Some sought refuge in the concrete structures of the Lahaina Civic Center, while others made the desperate choice to jump into the ocean, seeking sanctuary from the searing heat and suffocating smoke. The Coast Guard would later rescue dozens of people from the water, people who had spent hours clinging to the seawall as their town burned behind them. The fire moved with such ferocity that it created its own weather system. Fire whirls, tornado-like vortexes of flame, danced through the streets, incinerating historic wooden buildings that had stood for over a century. The Waiola Church, the Lahaina Jodo Mission, the Baldwin Home Museum Mall were reduced to ash. These weren't just buildings. They were the keepers of Lahaina's rich history, the former capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom. The iconic banyan tree, a 150-year-old landmark that shaded nearly an entire city block, was horribly scorched, its future uncertain. As night fell, the full extent of the devastation became terrifyingly clear. The fire had consumed over 2,200 structures, the vast majority of them homes. The vibrant, bustling town was gone, replaced by a smoldering, gray wasteland. The human cost was even more staggering. In the days and weeks that followed, search and rescue teams, aided by cadaver dogs, undertook the grim task of sifting through the rubble. the official death toll climbed, making the Lahaina fire the deadliest U.S. wildfire in over a century. The aftermath revealed a community shattered but not broken. Stories of heroism and survival emerged. Neighbors helped neighbors escape. Strangers offered shelter and aid. The spirit of Ohana, the Hawaiian concept of family and community, shone brightly amidst the darkness. Local chefs organized to feed displaced residents, and donation centers overflowed with supplies from across Hawaii and the world. However, the road to recovery is long and fraught with challenges. The cleanup process is immense, complicated by toxic materials from burned homes and vehicles. The emotional and psychological trauma for survivors is profound. Many lost not only their homes and possessions but also loved ones, their sense of security, and their connection to a place steeped in ancestral heritage. The Lahaina fire is a stark and painful reminder of the growing threat of climate-fueled disasters. It highlights the urgent need for better land management, the removal of invasive species, the modernization of infrastructure, and improved emergency communication systems. The tragedy has forced a difficult conversation in Hawaii and beyond about how we prepare for and respond to a rapidly changing world. For the people of Maui, the fire is a wound that will take generations to heal. The debate over how to rebuild Lahaina is a complex one, balancing the need for modern, fire-resistant construction with the desire to preserve the town's unique historical and cultural character. The community is determined that the new Lahaina will honor the old, a resilient tribute to the lives lost and the spirit that can never be extinguished. The ashes of Lahaina hold a powerful lesson for us all. They speak of loss, but also of love. They speak of vulnerability, but also of incredible strength. As we watch this community begin the slow, painful process of rebuilding, we are reminded of the profound importance of community preparedness and our shared responsibility to protect our homes and our planet from the growing threat of a changing climate. The spirit of Lahaina will endure, a beacon of hope rising from the embers. Thank you for watching. August 8th, 2023. A day etched into the memory of Maui as a day of unimaginable loss. The historic town of Lahaina, once the capital of the Hawaiian kingdom, was engulfed by an inferno that swept through with breathtaking speed, leaving behind a landscape of ash and ruin. But this was no ordinary wildfire. This was a catastrophe born from a perfect storm of environmental and human failures. How did a small brush fire escalate into the deadliest U.S. wildfire in over a century? Today, we investigate the chain of events that led to the Lahaina tragedy. Our story begins not with a bang, but with a flicker. Days before the main blaze, small brush fires had been reported. In the dry, drought-stricken landscape of West Maui, these were not uncommon. One fire, near the Lahaina Intermediate School, was declared 100% contained by the Maui County Fire Department on the morning of August 8th, but it wasn't extinguished. It was a zombie fire, smoldering underground in the root systems of invasive grasses. As the morning wore on, a new, far more powerful force arrived, Hurricane Dora, though passing hundreds of miles south of Hawaii. Its immense power generated ferocious downslope winds that gusted over 80 miles per hour, fanning the embers of that contained fire back to life. It was a tinderbox waiting for a spark, and the hurricane provided the gale-force winds to turn that spark into a firestorm. The winds were so strong they knocked down power lines across West Maui. This is a critical point. Multiple witnesses reported seeing sparks from downed lines, igniting dry grass. The very infrastructure meant to power the community became a potential source of ignition, a catastrophic failure that would soon have devastating consequences. As the fire exploded, spreading from the hills down towards the town, a crucial question arose. Why were the sirens silent? Maui has an extensive network of 80 all-hazard warning sirens, designed to alert the public to tsunamis and other dangers. But on that day, as flames bore down on Lahaina, they never sounded. Officials later explained that the sirens are primarily used for tsunamis, and they feared that activating them would cause people to flee uphill, directly into the fire's path. Instead, The county relied on wireless emergency alerts sent to mobile phones. But this strategy had a fatal flaw. The same high winds that fueled the fire had also toppled cell towers and knocked out power. Lahaina was plunged into a digital dark age. No power, no internet, no cell service. The alerts that were sent never reached the majority of residents. People were left in the dark, literally and figuratively, with no official warning of the rapidly approaching danger. They relied on word of mouth, the sight of smoke, or the horrifying sound of explosions as the fire consumed homes and businesses. The communication breakdown was total and absolute. For those in Lahaina, the realization of danger came suddenly and terrifyingly. The fire moved with incredible speed, described by survivors as a blowtorch, a monster consuming everything in its path. Panic set in. The main road out of town, the Anopi-Ilani Highway, became a gridlocked nightmare. Cars were abandoned as people fled on foot. Some described a scene of pure chaos, with burning debris raining down in thick, black smoke making it impossible to see or breathe. Desperate to escape the flames, dozens of people jumped into the ocean, clinging to the seawall for hours as the U.S. Coast Guard raced to rescue them from the churning, smoke-filled water. They faced a harrowing choice: burn on land or risk drowning in the sea. The stories of escape are tales of sheer terror and incredible bravery. Neighbors helping neighbors, strangers pulling people from burning cars, and families making split-second decisions that meant the difference between life and death. The fire burned for days. When the smoke finally cleared, the scale of the devastation was revealed. Over 2,200 structures were destroyed, the vast majority of them homes. The historic heart of Lahaina was gone. The banyan tree, a 150-year-old landmark, stood scorched, but, miraculously, still alive, a symbol of resilience in a field of loss. In the aftermath, the search for survivors and the recovery of the deceased began. It was a grim, painstaking process. Forensic teams, including anthropologists and specialists with cadaver dogs, sifted through the ashes, a task complicated by the fire's intense heat, which reached over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The official death toll climbed, making it the nation's deadliest wildfire in more than a century. Each number represented a life cut short, a family shattered. As the community grieved, a new fight began, the fight for accountability. Scrutiny quickly fell on Hawaiian Electric, the state's largest utility. Evidence mounted that its energized power lines, toppled by the hurricane-force winds, likely caused the fire. Lawsuits alleged the company was negligent, failing to implement a public power shutoff plan or de-energize their lines despite the high wind warnings. And red flag conditions are common practice in other fire-prone states like California. The utility has acknowledged its lines started the morning fire but disputes its responsibility for the main afternoon blaze, claiming the fire department had extinguished it. Emergency management officials also faced intense criticism for the silent sirens and the failed communication strategy. The head of the Maui Emergency Management Agency resigned amid the public outcry, defending the decision not to sound the sirens until the end. These questions of accountability are not just about assigning blame. They are about ensuring such a disaster never happens again. The people of Lahaina are demanding answers and, more importantly, change. They are fighting for stronger infrastructure, better emergency protocols, and a future where their community is protected. The road to recovery for Lahaina will be long and arduous. It involves not just rebuilding homes and businesses, but also healing deep emotional wounds and preserving the cultural heritage that was lost. The spirit of Lahaina Strong is a testament to the resilience of its people, but their strength is matched by their resolve to find justice. The Lahaina fire was a tragedy of immense proportions, a painful lesson in the intersection of climate change, infrastructure vulnerability, and human error. The memory of what was lost fuels the fight for a safer future, so that the silent sirens and cascading failures of August 8th are never repeated. Thank you for watching. If you found this investigation informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth stories.